Swayam Prabha. Digital India. Educated India.
Welcome to this 32 session of Ergonomics for Beginners Industrial Design Perspective. The current module is module number 8, Ergonomics Design Process. Out of the 4 classes in this module, so the current session, the class number 32, is the ergonomics criteria and check while designing, and the rest 2, the design process involving ergonomics check and some checklist for task easiness will follow in 33 and 34 classes. So, today is the ergonomics criteria and check while designing. Now, in this slide there are 2 consecutive slides mentions a brief or as a summary of this, where it says that a product or a design space should establish compatibility between human factors principles and product or system features, and then comfort of use and functional reliability. Now, how we can get these points? In earlier classes, last class we mentioned that from the real life observation and experience, some good points, some awkward issues that have come up or that are coming up in terms of compatibility with the users. Those issues generates these points. From that only the criteria and etc. it comes. So, the compatibility, comfort and functional reliability, if we want to check it, then we can say that the human compatibility through information collection and revalidation, that is establishing product user friendly relationship, means when I am using a product, that product may be available product, or when we are developing a product, the prototype, when we use it, whether that product features matches with the desired aspects of our compatibilityness, that is whether it is good, it is matching with my body dimensions, my psychological perception, feeling, etc., and whether it creates any problem. So, these issues, that is the establishing product user friendly relationship. Now, and again the user context analysis. The user's context analysis means where this product would be used. If we develop a pencil and if we feel that it would be used by a child, then the fineness of the tip, and if it is brittle, then it will be not accepted by that child. So, then what type of specific design check should be considered so that that child should not get disturbed if the lead breaks quite often. Like that, the user's context analysis. If we make a chair or a stool to sit, whether that stool, if it is a metal made stool and if that is used near a hot place or a very cold place, then it may not suit to use it. There some kind of a heat resistance treatment has to be given. So, this type of context analysis is necessary. The fitting the anthropometric dimensions of the user and the product geometry, that in earlier sessions we have discussed in great length this issue. The product and space and component layout in the space itself, geometry and his means the user's physical structure, that is anthropometry, biomechanics and bionics needs to be considered. After that thing comes the linking behavioral match between the user and the product. Under this aspect, we can say that link and layout analysis, hierarchical task analysis should consider performance and layout of component principles. Here the 4 set of principles are here are used normally, that is principle of importance. When we are making some components layout, to get that total function done, what are the importance of those specific components and accordingly it has to be arranged in that location. Frequency of use, that element how many times in a given period to be used, then accordingly if it is more used then it has to be closer to the person. Functional, to get the function done and the sequence of use, means to get a function done, what are the operations in sequence that has to be considered. So, these are the linking behavior match with a match between the user and the product. Next comes usage within physiological tolerance limit. If we make a staircase where the steps are little higher, then if I want to use that, then it may not permit in my physiological limits. Now, a very interesting thing is that when now we have developed some escalator systems. Now, there are many people who gets really feel trouble when to step the first step when the escalator is in movement. So, at that moment it is noticed that heartbeat increases. Now, the fatigue and safety within his physiological abilities, like senses, like auditory senses, within ability whether he can hear, like that. If we put an helmet in such a way that everything is closed, so the hearing will be problem. Vision, how we can see if it is within the visual limits, visual field limits, etc. Then tactile, how to feel differences with the tactile. Olfactory, smell. Now, the smell is another thing is that smell very quickly we can get adapted to the smell, but smell is very good to give a quick attention. Like if a gas cylinder, LPG gas cylinder leaks, that markup and that chemical is mixed there. If gas leaks there, then that, so with that smell suddenly you can recognize something that gas leaks. But if it stays for a quite long time, then we may not get that type of a continuous attention. So, in that space cases where sudden attention is necessary, the olfaction may be useful. Force and pressure effects, like here stimuli, reaction time and effect relation. In this case, we can say that suppose when we make a crane to move, in that case, if a very feather touch button is there, then by a mistake of that, there may be some big damage. In that case, whatever the reaction we are expecting while using that joystick or something, it has to be little more informative, means you should feel that something bigger is going to happen. But in computer or in a mobile telephone, that feather touch button it may be possible or is useful, because there that type of safety danger is not there. So, this is the stimuli, reaction time and effect relation has to be considered in that context. And then perception and tolerance limit, how we perceive the things, form, shape, size, presentation as a whole, and the tolerance limit, how much I can tolerate these things. So, this is within the physiological tolerance limits. Now, another thing that the providing stable dimensions and features for ease of handling and operating without any hindrance. So, the layout would be in such a way that to approach to a certain elements, other elements presence should not disturb. Incorporating proper cognitive and semantic applications to ease the decoding of messages put in the designed item is necessary. Now, the second slide in continuation we can say that and so whatever we mentioned earlier, this is that human compatibility through these issues and the easy and fear free mode of use, that is providing confidence to users, a trust. When I am wearing a spectacle, it should be in such a way that it should not slip off from the face. How I can get that feeling? If we take a glass of water, glass made glass, if someone asks to drop it, it is little difficult to drop it, because we know that if we drop, what effect is going to happen, it breaks and etc. So, now a driver who regularly drives a car, good driver, it is very difficult for him to dash against a tree or something or an wall on the roadside, very difficult, because these are the inbuilt something that stops him to do that. So, these are the things, something is there, that ease and fear free mode of use, that providing confidence to users, stimuli processing capabilities and action. When driving car, if a tree comes in front or a something comes in front, obviously we take a turn, means the stimuli processing capabilities and action, display modality, information hierarchy and coding and perception. An electronic item where a small indicator bulb is there. So, when we increase the intensity with a regulator, this bulb's intensity also increases. So, this is the link between this. My intention, whether it is working, it is affected through that light intensity. So, these are the cases and then this is the hierarchy and coding and perception, which like this, and his normal behavior, that is contextual use, socio-psychological factors, cognitive aspects such as effort and accuracy, contextual characteristics, memory, and acquired knowledge based relation has to be considered. The stereotype and group behavior and semiotics are necessary, and so these are the product compatibility with human nature and human abilities, with physical and mental. Now, the product reliability and safety through systematic human error reduction. When I make a product, there are some mistakes, maybe there are some errors. So, gradually one after another check the points and reduce, and prediction approach, task analysis for error identification, creating context specific user friendly micro and macro environment. Through these 5 steps one can follow. First is that design of the overall form, shape, size of the product and the layout of the parts for operational easiness. Number 2 will be remove unnecessary bad parts. If there are some bad or unnecessary parts are there, that gradually remove without altering the intended function. Third is that if we cannot remove all the bad parts, then at least try to give a guard to that. Now, how we can give a guard? There are many theories, many possibilities are there. Number 4 is that warn about probable hazards while using the same. Warn means by issuing some warning information or inbuilt some indicators and etcetera that give warning. And number 5, if after this train by specific instructions on how to use the system efficiency. So, these are the some of the steps, 5 steps we can use to ensure the product reliability and safety. Now, with this, the design process involving ergonomics check, that is ergonomics is a basic grammar, that is check kind of thing for user friendly design practice. With this, some steps are normally considered. Those steps we are going to discuss now. First is that we have to consider whether the attempt is for a new design or redesigning. If it is a redesign, then what are the faults are there and how we can make it better, that should be considered. If a new design, then thinking its future issues, elements needs to be considered. Need and problem identification, that is information collection, information analysis of similar existing products, literature survey and review, interviews, discussions, questionnaire, recording, filtration of the recordings of the information, compilation and reliabilityness from all those informations received. Then users need identification to know exactly what is wanted and to set up the objectives of the product development and determine what is required to to be incorporated into the product. Setting up research methodology to fulfill the objectives, including incorporation of users' information, planned research, elimination of probable hazards, elimination and arrival of feature specifications necessary. So, this we are going to speak in 3 slides. Now, the second slide says that the creative alternate concepts, make alternate concepts, from that some can be selected, formalize the approach, the models, trials and incorporation of feedback. Now comes the ergonomics check. The specific ergonomics checks are: see the possibilities and informations for establishing compatibility between human factors and product and safety and systems features and functional reliability, information revalidation, whatever information we received, whether it is really good or after doing certain experiment, whatever our assumption was there, it changes or it does not continue. So, then some new thought, so the information revalidation, use context analysis, link analysis among all the components, layout analysis, hierarchical task analysis, systematic human error reduction and prediction approach. In last slide we mentioned this in details, the 5 points. These 5 points are these 5 points are here that we have mentioned here. Now, the task analysis for error identification. These are the ergonomics checks are normally taken in a product development stage. For final design concept and prototype development, analytical prototyping, it means verification of its feasibility through feedback from probable users and experts, design refinement, make final design and prototype, and then commissioning, operation and maintenance needs to be considered. So, these are the total product development phases. Now, after developing the product, evaluation is necessary. How far it is really good. So, data collection and evaluation of outcome measures we need to consider. Exploratory sequential data analysis through quantitative and qualitative handling of continuous observational data while using that product. Effectiveness of testing of complex systems, usability testing, maintainability, human factors audits, means what human factors were considered and whether it is really achieved, assessing cost and benefit of human factors, means while considering these things whether it is really achieved good. Now, we will see some of the specific aspects, specific issues. Ergonomics criteria designing or redesigning a product or a system. Under this, number 1, that shape of a product be aesthetically appealing and product geometry and users anthropometry structural limitations must fit each other for ensuring safety as well as better function, and size be handy to operate and easy to maintain. Casing of internal parts should be in such a fashion that if there is any fault in a single part, it should be replaced easily. Here the 2 examples are provided here. This example is that a tea leaf in a tea garden, that shearing device, that is the holding handle and etc. It is designed in such a way and different specific parts can be replaced. This is WC commode, that cover. Here the front part is kept free, so that in this, if it is necessary, some plastic sheets can be inserted here, so that it can make a cover like this. So, in a public place, so if when this cover is used here, so a person can use it. After use, a new sheet of may be placed in after replacing the older one, to give a fresh look to always. So, these are the concepts can be used to. Now, in this case, a special concept is made, that how we can make the form. If any movement or force to be applied, either using a part or the whole article, the direction for force application should go with the configuration of the human body, that is, it should synchronize with the human natural movement axis, so that maximum mechanical advantage could be achieved. If there is a lever to operate, if it is in the body front, it is little difficult to operate, but if it is kept little side, maybe 30° or something like that, here version, if we pull that lever, then it will be easier, because our normal body, it goes with our normal body movement axis. Now, with this, how we can make a form? This is a case where a table clock here, when alarm is put, as per normal behavior, when the person is sleeping and this one is ringing, he wishes to switch to stop the alarm. But the shape is that in different way of pressing the switches, it goes back like this, and sometimes it falls. So, what happens? She has to hold it in both the hands to switch off. So, means what happens? The force direction and the product position or product shape and size, it does not match. So, a development was made in such a way that if this is a product of this form, then wherever we may keep the switches, either here or here, anywhere, the force may come from any spot, the product will remain at that position. So, like this, the basis of this product development is that a direction of force, and the product should maintain a single spot. Another issue is that consider the physical, structural and biomechanical nature of human beings, sex and age variations, along with the context and intended method of use. Normally, a small hammer, if we see this product, the pliers, if the pliers are normally, handles are like this, straight handle. So, while holding it, then our hand goes like this way. So, this is an angle forms here like this. So, to avoid this angle formation, if we can make like this type of figure here, a handle is like this, little like bent. So, what happens here, if we hold, then holding will be like this. So, less bending is there. The similar way, the small hammers, if it is a straight handle and if it is a little bent handle, it is better. Now, in this case, it is said that if we see our arm and we hold it, so this position, holding position and this axis, it has some angle around 20-30 angle like that. So, this and the holding area, if we can have this angle, then it will be easier to hold and then operate like that. It also depends context specific applications. Now, another aspect of this that application of force. In this case, a shovel, a single hand shovel, it is difficult because of working like this way. So, the static load comes on hand. So, a development was made, a separate handle is given here. Now, with this separate handle, now it looks that it is a very good position, but actually what happens when operating it, the arm remains in a static position and instead betterment it gives problem more. So, with this it is considered that if in this position, if we can have in this a ball and socket type of joint, where what happens while throwing the sand or the soil, this arm we can move it, and this also it can slide on the main handle. So, that type of things one can use it. Now, another aspect is that incorporate cognitive requirements and product semantics. The product must transmit its mode of use through inbuilt features in the appearance. Incorporate the common psychology of the users as well as population stereotypes along with the preconceived knowledge of the use of similar articles. As for example, we can say that these two pens, these two pens, it is very difficult to recognize whether it requires to open the cap in a spiral way or just pull push. For that, if we have a system like this, means if it is like this way in the cap and the body, then this signage it tells us that it is a pull push type of fitting. And if this one in this case, if it is like this way, like this, then it can say it says that it needs twisting to open. So, this similar type of application in utensils where the lid has to close like pressure cookers, etc., and many others can be used to. So, here what happens, the psychological feeling with the symbols gives input to know how to operate these things. Now, a completely new product, this is a common sense that a completely new product that does not have any resemblance to an existing one of a similar nature may not get proper acceptance by the users. A complete new product we may not accept it. So, to operate that, some kind of past experience is necessary to recognize the product's utility. Ensure that the product usage is within the limits of psychophysiological fatigue value. A product is given to me that I cannot operate, I tried to operate it with many trial and errors, etc., and finally I failed. It gives a psychological fatigue feeling. So, some necessary clue should be given how to operate it, and that clue should have the resemblance with an existing one product, so that we can relate it. The shape, size and overall form should be according to the various confirmed and anticipated behavior patterns of a normal user when using a similar article, and then some anticipation should be added if a specific type of operator or user wishes to use. That is the inclusive design and exclusive design matter also can come up with this. From this, a question comes that symbolic presence of a mode of operation, whether it meets the real need. The product should provide human sensation and feeling. For instance, appropriate applications of surface color and varied surface textures in the components and in the whole product help to identify the relative functions and to act as indicators for cautioning against any faulty operations while using or operating. With this criteria, some examples are here that in this product, in this left corner is a shower, and then the showers, the tap and then the knobs are there, and here a combined water tap where cold water and hot water facilities are there, like that. So, in this case one question comes that if there are two knobs are there like this, two knobs are there, one knob to mention that hot, so we can have a red color, and another one to show we can have a red color thing here, and another one we can show that blue, like this, blue for normal water. If there is another one with a that requires hot water, normal water and cold water, then at this position what would be the normal water's color code and the cold water's color code, and then what will be the layout arrangement of these three knobs, so that quickly we can recognize which one is hot, which one is cold, which one is normal. In certain electrical switches it is that is off button, and then maximum speed, then minimum speed, average medium speed, and then lower speed is there. So, when you move like this way. So, when you are switching off, then your needle that it has to come, it has to cross the maximum point and then to come to off position. So, this type of, then what would be the actual feeling, the perception of task requirement and its symbolic presence, it is necessary. Incorporation of relationship between stimuli and effects. Few minutes before we mentioned about this matter. Now, being too simple to operate, a product may cause inattentive operational faults, which sometimes may induce injuries and accidents. Simple small sized switches for small operational output and relatively bigger size controls for handling a huge crane would be suitable. It confirms a linear proportional relationship between the size of the control and the work output. So, this we have to confirm in our design, so that a person's feeling that this matter one can, without any specific attention, one can use it. Now, the preference and emergency features. During emergency, the body collapses instead of maintaining a controlled coordination of extension and flexing movements of the limbs, head and trunk. It is said that when you are able body, we tend to expand our body sizes. When there is any problem, we try to squeeze our body, fall, and our limbs come closer to the center of the body. Now, how we can use this in design? To stop a power operated machine or equipment, the off control must be given a priority location for easier operation in preference to the on control positioning, so that in emergency with minimum effort it can be put off, thereby reducing the chances of accidents. As per position wise, if the switches are above your head or above your shoulder level, then off switch will be closer to you and then the on switch will be top. In the if it is lower than your body center, still that off button should be near and on should be distance. So that while making it on with effort we need to on, but while putting it off with a less effort it should be put off. But in certain cases like a computer server of an organization where without any specified or a specialized person, no one should switch off that machine, there it should be reverse. So, context wise specific application is necessary. In this case, the groupings of similar body parts of an article used for the same purpose or for similar activities are necessary. So, like this and then the groupings etcetera, these all are considered. Placement of parts of a single article should not create any hindrance while operating any function. Should ensure safety through optimization of safety features, safe use and material and chemicals. Users should not get hurt or injured by any unsafe features caused by negligence and a lack of proper finish, as for example, sharp edged corners, exposed pointed appearances and protrusions which normally cause accidents. It should be avoided. Instructions regarding functions and safety features should be clearly mentioned and simple to understand by the users. Here the language component is also important and the instructions symbolic application, how it is easier and whether it is within the capabilities of the target users group, you need to consider it. Now, another thing it can be said that design according to its intended contextual use, there should not be any visual discomfort. Overall appearance of products should be convenient to use. This figure in the right hand side of the slide says that it is in a faculty tea club, tea area. When we use this tea machine, tea dispenser machine, the tea dips. So, there may be many design solutions, but simpler way was made that a platform was made and from here 2 strings were hung. From there the 2 strings were hung and with these 2 strings a simple water mug was placed here. So, that the drips are falling on it and it accumulates here, and it is very easy to clean it and to maintenance it, and it is affordable. In fact, we can say the no cost development type of thing. So, this type of the context specific requirement and then what would be the best solutions with least cost is necessary to mention. Products must be durable, repairable and have multipurpose facilities for manipulatory use. People do not like to buy a specific product for a specific purpose only. Like if I need a specific product and in a year, so once only we use it, we may not like to buy and keep in our home. There it would be better if in a community wise, if it is purchased and lended over to people or users as and whenever necessary based. So, this type of things are also necessary to consider. Obviously, the cost factor should be considered with a view to satisfying the intended class of customers. It is said that the higher income group of people, they may go for new experiments, very lower income group people, they may go for the similar type of things, but cheap material, because cost is a factor there. But the major group, users group, that is the middle class group, normally they do not prefer to go for experimentation. They need a trustworthy product that can satisfy their need as well as can remain within that affordable capabilities. Now, what type of product development we are trying to do to satisfy what type of need and what would be our target users group. These are the basic necessities to answer while taking a design development program. The product, finally, we can say that whatever we develop or we do, the product must satisfy the various legal bases which are applied in the nation. As for example, in India, BIS specifications, Health and Safety Acts and Consumer Acts, etc., various regulations. All these things, while framing, they considered all the good points that is necessary. So, if while developing, if these are considered, then obviously the product will get a good benefit. So, with this we are concluding this session, and now the next session, the class 33. In that class, we will discuss the design process involving ergonomics check with some specific design applications. So, till then, thank you very much. So, we will meet next class. Thank you.